This podcast is for professional voice teachers to answer the question, how do I grow my teaching business and even break out of that one-on-one lesson model so that I can reach and teach who I want whenever I want. I'm your host, Allie Tyler, voice teacher of over a decade and marketing and business coach for fellow voice teachers. Welcome to the Voicepreneur Podcast. Hello, lovely voice teacher. Welcome to another episode of the Voicepreneur Podcast. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me, for choosing to work on your business. I freaking love you already. You are my kind of people. I am so thrilled to be bringing you this topic today. I'm always thrilled to be bringing you these topics, but this one I feel like is a very relevant one for all the teachers and the business owners of the land. We are talking about websites. Yes, your website. It is a thing that you need. And actually today, the goal of this episode is to give you a little mini check-in. Consider this like your own little check-in to see how your website is doing, the vitality of your website, right? Is your website doing its job? And then you can take the 3 tips that I'm going to give you today and actually look through your website to literally check and see that you are implementing these 3 things. Now, before we dive into these 3 things, I want to make something really, really clear. You do not have to have a website to get students. You don't have to focus on your website to build your business. In fact, your website is kind of like, this is so weird to say. Am I going to say this? I'm going to say this. It's kind of like the frosting on the cake, meaning that it's the very last thing you do. So what I mean by this is, let's say you want to give your website a little makeover, right? And you're listening to this episode and you know that building your website and making it look really good is a priority for yourself in 2023 or whatever year you're listening to this. That is wonderful. And I want to make sure that you have baked your cake first, right? We want to make sure that you have things to put on your website. And this is a struggle that so many people face, myself included. They go into the website design platform that they're using. Let's say it's Squarespace or Wix or WordPress, right? And you go in there and you're like, today's the day. I'm going to edit my website. And you're like, wha-bam, it's happening. I'm doing it. I'm logging in. What do I put on here? What do I do? I don't know what to do, right? I've had this happen to me so many times, and I get it. It's kind of an overwhelming feeling when you're like, I'm going to make this big, beautiful website, and then you don't really know what to put on this website and how to phrase it and where it goes and should it go there in the first place, right? There's so many questions that come up when we are building our own website. So here's the most important thing that I hope that you will take away from this. It is essential that you work on the things that go inside of your website first rather than your website first. Does that make sense? So what I mean by this is your offers, your content, your about page, your YouTube channel if you have it, or a podcast if you have it, right? Whatever it is that you are making consistently and whatever it is that you are selling, especially if it is things that are beyond private lessons, these things need to be made and made clear before you start building your website and giving it a makeover, right? So in today's episode, I'm going to assume that you have these things done. And if you don't, that's okay. You know what to work on. And if you have these things done and you're ready to put them onto your website and you just want to make sure that your website is doing its job, then welcome to this episode. I am so delighted that you have decided to click on this particular topic. So let's start there. Your website's intention. Is it doing its job? What is your website's job? Well, that's actually a great place to start. Our website's job really and truly is to make sales. It's to get students, right? It's to make business happen. But I also want you to remember that everyone is in a different place in their business and everyone is going to treat their website a little bit differently. So for example, if you are an active blogger or if you have an active YouTube channel, you might be treating your website totally differently than somebody who has no social media, no blog, and no content, right? So the first most important thing is to ask the question of, is my website doing its job? This means, is my website converting? Am I getting students from my website? Are they going on there and they're doing the things that they're supposed to in order for me to actually teach them and get paid and grow my business? If you don't have a clear ROI on your website specifically, then let this be a little invitation to you to go and check that out. And what I mean by an ROI, if you haven't heard me talk about it already, ROI stands for your return on investment. Meaning, as a business owner, everything that we pay for, like a website that we pay sometimes annually and sometimes monthly for, we want to make sure that that thing that we're paying for is serving a purpose and it is actually helping us make even more money, right? It's called investing. And so we want to make sure that if you are investing money in your website design, that you are actually making money from your website. Super important. So go in, check those numbers, and assess whether or not your website is doing its job. So here's the first thing that you can check when you are doing your little mini check-in on your website, and it's the first most important thing, really, that your website needs to do. Number one, your website needs to clearly define what you're all about. It needs to clearly define your brand and your value proposition, right? And what I mean by this is simply who it is that you help and how it is that you help them. What is the problem that you're solving, specifically about singing, and who are you solving it for? And we've talked ad nauseum about this conversation, so check out any of the previous episodes that we have covered here. But this is really, really important. We want to make sure that everybody who lands on your website knows what they're looking at. And super specifically, they know what they are looking at in a matter of seconds. They are able to describe what you're all about, what type of teacher you are, who it is that you teach, what you help them with, literally in like 10 seconds or less. That is the goal because let's be real, we have really short attention spans and that's just what we have to do. And this is so important to do specifically on your homepage. So if there's any place that you want to be spending the most amount of time to make sure that it looks really good and it captures your brand values and your value proposition and all of everything that makes up you as the teacher, then spend some quality time on that homepage, my friend. Your homepage is a storefront. Your website is a store. It is not a museum. It is not a museum of you and the schools you went to and the roles that you played and the students that you've taught. Like, that's wonderful. We love you. But that is not the purpose of your website. That is the purpose maybe of a performer's website if you want to put up your media kit and all that stuff. But when it comes to your teaching business's website, this is all about your student. We want the entire website to feel like you are talking directly to them. So, little self-check, count how many times on your website you use the word I. Count how many times you use the word I'm, or my, or any pronoun that has to do with you, right? First person pronouns. And then I want you to count how many times you use the word you and your, and speaking directly to your ideal student. Can you guess which one's more important? I'm sure you can guess. We want to make sure that we turn all of those I's into U's, my friend. We really want to make sure that we are speaking directly to the person that we are helping, and we are describing how we're going to help them. That is what your website's all about, okay? So that is the first strategy, is to really make sure that you are defining your brand. The ways in which we do this are going to be primarily through your words, your copy, right? The words that you use on your website, and your visuals, how it looks. So that's going to be the fonts and the font placement and the photos and the colors and the whole style. You also absolutely want to be considering the wireframe. And the wireframe is essentially the entire navigation system of your website. So we just want to make sure that everything flows, it's really easy to navigate through the different pages, and everything has its own place in the right place. It's actually one of the biggest mistakes I think that I see a lot of teachers make is that they will start working on their website and they have all these different pages and they have all this amazing copy, but the copy itself is actually on the wrong pages. And so we can actually tighten up those pages a little bit, make it a little bit easier for your visitor to navigate around and put the appropriate copy on those different pages. And then, of course, we really want to be highlighting the benefits of working with us. This is what we mean by clearly defining your brand, because it's one thing to be like, I'm Allie Tyler. I am a stage performance coach for actors. I don't know why I needed to use that voice, and that's actually not even true at all, but let's just go with it. Let's say that is my jam. It's one thing to say that, but it's another to actually use language that describes why you want to work with me. Why am I the person that is going to help you with your stage fright? Right? What are the things that I'm going to help you with? How is your life going to look better as a result of working with me? Maybe you're going to get on stage and you're going to be freaking unstoppable with that microphone. You went from like totally scared to totally confident, and that's totally lame copy to use, but that is essentially the type of copy that I would be using on my website if that's how I want to be featuring the benefits of working with me. So make sure that through all of the words and through all of the visuals and your wireframe, which we'll talk about in just a second, that it is super, super clear why someone should work with you. The second major component to your website that you can self-check yourself on is optimize those conversions. So what does this mean? It basically means that we want to make sure that people are doing things every second that we possibly can grab them. So that could mean click here to learn more. Click here to sign up for lessons. Click here to book a free intro lesson. Click here to visit this blog post. Click here to, right? Click here to. You don't have to use those exact words, click here to, unless you want to, but buttons. Buttons and links, my friend. We want buttons on every single page. If you have pages on your website that do not take them somewhere or ask them to do something, they're not going to do anything, and you are not going to see very many conversions happen. So we want people to be clicking through your website, and we want people to actually be doing things. So signing up for that free intro lesson, or signing up for voice lessons, or buying the warm-up tracks, or joining the membership program, right? Doing the thing that helps you grow your business. So it's very important that your navigation is set up, like I said, super clearly and easily, that it's mobile friendly, right? This is a really, really big, important one, my friend. I am willing to bet that 70% of the people that end up on your website are going to end up there on their mobile device. So we want to make sure it's mobile friendly. We want to make sure that your website loads quickly, as slow loading times can often turn off visitors. And overall, we want to make sure that we are constantly leading people to what it is that we want them to do. Remember, this is a store, not a museum. So we want to take every opportunity that we can to get your visitor to take action. The third component to giving your website a little makeover and ensuring that it is doing its job is to showcase your expertise. Show people that you are who we want to study with. And there are so many ways that you can do this. And I know that we're really good at doing this actually on social media platforms, I feel. Like so many of us spend a lot of time working on that Instagram bio, making sure that it looks really good and concise and does its job. And we're putting out all the free content and the reels and the carousels and the TikToks. And we are just giving so much information, incredible information on how to sing and how to be a great singer and a great performer and all of this amazing stuff that you are an expert in, right? We just want to make sure that all of your hard work that you are doing on all these platforms is also represented on your website, right? So your website should really be a compilation of your legacy. It's what you're all about in the form of content, such as blog posts, Instagram posts, TikToks, YouTube videos, podcast episodes, right? All types of content, as well as social proof, testimonials, student stories, things that have actually transpired with you and your students, right? We want to see that stuff. That makes you super credible and it makes you super enticing as a visitor who is coming onto your website, because we're like, damn, they know what they're talking about. Look at all this content. Look at all those testimonials. Okay, I am super interested in what they have to offer. So it sounds very self-explanatory, but I just want to make sure that your website is really representing how amazing you are. And I'm willing to bet that it might need just a little makeover to do that job. Now, again, we do want to make sure that the website is highlighting your ideal client. And really what we mean by this is they are the star of their own story and you are their teacher, right? And so the website is showing them that, yes, you want to have all of these things. You want to sound like this and feel like this and be this type of singer. And I can help you do that. Here's my story on how I did that. And here's other stories from other students that have worked with me to showcase that I really know what I'm talking about here, because truthfully, I just want to help you. I believe in you. I know that you can do this. Come check out all the content that I have made completely free for you to help you do this. And here are my services in case you want to take this a step further. That is what your website is doing. So if you are not sure if your website is doing its job, have somebody else look at it, especially somebody who maybe is not in the voice teaching industry and is just kind of a rando, or hey, maybe it's like an actual student of yours, right? So it's a student who is an ideal student, but is not in the voice teaching world because they are the student. However you want to have somebody assess your website, I definitely recommend doing that. So in summary, here are the 3 areas that you can be focusing on to ensure that your website has great vitality and it is doing its job, aka conversions are happening. Number 1, you want to make sure your website clearly defines your brand, right? So who you help and how you help them and what you help them with. Number 2, we want to make sure that your website is optimized for conversions, right? We want to make sure that your visitors are taking action. And number 3, we want to make sure that your website showcases your expertise, that it shows who you are, why you're credible, how your students are getting the results that you promise, and how your content represents you and the type of teacher that you are. I hope that this was helpful for you, and I am so looking forward to hearing which focus point you are going to be working on in your business. So please come and DM me over on Instagram and let me know which one are you going to work on, number 1, 2, or 3. I want to know, so definitely let me know. And if you're listening to this in the month of April of 2023, there are a couple very exciting things happening that I want to make sure that you are aware of. The first is that if you enjoy this podcast and you haven't rated and reviewed it, I would so greatly appreciate if you did that. And I'm going to be choosing some lucky winners this month to walk away with a $50 Amazon gift card. We are celebrating 50 episodes here on the Voicepreneur Podcast, and I want to celebrate with you. I would love to hear how this podcast has helped you in your music teaching business. So if you have ever DM'd me on Instagram and let me know this personally, which I am so grateful for, I absolutely love, oh my God, I seriously love, I love hearing what you are doing in your business that is helping amplify it and grow it. Now I would love it if you would share that on the podcast. So go ahead and rate and review that when you can, and maybe you will be a lucky winner to get a $50 gift card. The last and most exciting piece of news, oh my goodness, I'm so excited about this, is that for the month of April only, month of April in 2023, you can come and join us inside of the Voicepreneur program for just $55 a month. And here is what you get at this insanely low price, because yes, the prices are going to go up on May 1st. You are going to get the 16 steps on how to break out of the one-on-one lesson model. So if you want to scale your teaching business and you want to make money in other ways, there is a step-by-step process that I teach you on how to do that. You will also get 3 group coaching calls every month with our incredible incredible, very international, super inspiring community. I think we have literally 17 countries that are represented inside of this program, which is just so awesome. So freaking cool. And you're also going to get 12 months worth of bonus trainings. And the best part yet, you will get the Amplify course completely free. Now, if you remember, we did Amplify last month in March, and this is a course specifically for private voice teachers who want to build their private studio business. So you want to be filling up your studio with ideal clients, you want to have all your systems in order, and you want to know how to leverage them so that you can even make more money without having to get more students. You are going to get all of that, all of the juice, all of the everythingness for just $55 a month for the month of April only. So if you have been thinking about joining the program for a little bit, if you've heard me talk about it and you know that it's something you want to do, this is your time. This is your time because the prices are going to go up, and they're really going to go up like for realsies on May 1st. So I invite you to come and join us, and I certainly hope that I will see your face on the next group call. Thank you so much for being here. I am so delighted, as always, to be bringing you these episodes, and I truly hope that they are helpful for you in your teaching business. I cannot wait to hear how you apply everything we've talked about with your website, so definitely let me know, and I will catch you in the next episode.